So I wanted to talk about the something I really enjoy. Just I'm gonna try something different. Talk about a topic that I really like. Um, it's about music, the music process, and why I love it. But one of the main reasons for that is the whole process is unpredictable. You really don't know what's gonna come from it. Just from my personal experience, and I'm sure others that make music as well. I don't really know anyone personally that makes music like that, so I don't have anyone to talk to about music. Really, the music, really the production, the whole part of it. But I'm sure others can agree with it that the music makes itself. Because once you sit down and start with anything, it just starts to unravel. Like, ideas just come from other things. Like, you could start with, for example, how I make music. I start with any instrument. You can start with a drum pattern first. You're inspired by a drum pattern, and you have that. Because sometimes, usually, I try to make things from scratch just to see what I can make. But even if you don't start with even if you don't make a drum pattern yourself, you just have like a sample or something. You start with that, and other ideas come from that specific instrument, and you just bounce off. And while you're playing it, say you're playing the keyboard or you're playing the guitar, like a melody. Oh my God, a melody. This is the second time. I recorded a video like this before, and I couldn't say melody, but something comes to mind, and that's just a tune to play through the instrument, and it matches up with the other instruments that you have. It's just making itself, really. It's harder to explain, but it's easier to see and really easier to hear. But yeah, I start with different things each time, because some different things, I get inspiration from different things. I never really start with a guitar first. I usually start with drums first, or something from the keyboard. Really, I need some type of chord progression. I'm just trying to study those more and see what comes from that. But usually from drums or a keyboard. That's what I usually start with, and then add filler things off of that. So, and those filler things would just be the music making itself. Like, I don't know where it comes from. Like, I'm not making it from thin air, but it's literally making itself. But, and that's from the creativity, because the inspiration fuels the creativity. You could be, especially listening to music, that's another part where the inspiration comes from, and it fuels that creativity to make something. You could be listening to something, and people like different things about music. I personally, I like I wouldn't say there's one top ultimate thing that I love about music, but I do know I like the way it makes me feel. And that usually comes from the way the person's singing, and the way the instruments sound. It could literally be distorted. It could be melancholy. Just the way everything sounds, and it generates a feeling, and then that feeling you get when you're listening to the song, it's a really good feeling. It could be different things. It make you feel all different. It can make you feel like a Sunday afternoon. Just a bunch of music makes me feel like a Sunday afternoon, and I love that type of music. But And then listening to that and that feeling you get, it's it's just a really, you just feel inspired in that moment. I know for a long time I felt like that, but I never did anything. I never made music in that time frame. I just loved listening to it, and then I just kept listening and listening, and then at some point I just wanted to make music. I'm just gonna give it a try. Learn a new instrument, just keep learning instruments and learning new things to make music. But that's where usually my creativity came from. Just listening to other music and just that feeling and being in that zone. Also, I love when something new is made from other things. And that goes off the inspiration of listening to other music. I love when someone can take something and turn it into something completely different. That's why I love sampling. I never sampled myself, or I never specifically. You usually see it in rap music. Sometimes you might see it in R&B, but I love when they take something and turn it into something new, and it's actually good. There's a lot of times where it's good, and there's a lot of times where it's so-so. It's not, not really. It's whatever. But I love that you can do that. Like, that's a thing that's possible. And it doesn't even have to be a sample. It could just be you took this sound and you turned it into this. And maybe some people might see it as the same general sound or stuff like that. But I like how it's just one big cycle. It repeats itself. It's just, this was here. Now, 20 years later, this is here. I just love that. Like, that sound can never die. It could just always recycle, rinse and repeat. And in most cases I've seen it, it's been really good. Me personally. Really just the ones I listen to. But it's an endless cycle. And that's one of the things I love about it, of making something new from something that already exists. Writer's block. Now, I don't think I have ever had that before. I think that came from a notion or a mindset that, I don't know, you're judging your work. Something, oh damn, there goes the sun. You can't even see me on the camera now. But I was talking about writer's block. I don't think I've ever had that before. I may have thought I had it because whatever I was writing I didn't think it was just judging whatever you made and whatever you wrote, and you're trying to hold it up to some standard, probably comparing it to something else. That's why you can't write anything else. But usually when I have writer's block, I usually just step away and just do something else, come back to it. Could come back to it a day later, a couple of days later, and new ideas come from just stepping away and then observing what you have and then come back with a new perspective. But judging my own creation, something I made, and I do that a lot. Like, I would make something and I just don't like it, and I would just hold it. That's what I'm doing lately. Not that I'm judging it. I'll say this. In the past, I have judged something I made, and I feel like subconsciously I was just comparing it. That I didn't try to compare it, but subconsciously I'm comparing something I made to something else somebody else made. That doesn't really make sense. because it's really foolish, because comparing something I made to something somebody else made, you're two different people with completely different perspectives, and they're two unique individuals that have different things to say. I'm not gonna make something someone else made. I can't. No one can do that. You only make something you can make. So then I rearranged or realigned my perspective on it. So it's more about, instead of thinking what I made was bad, I just think I want to perfect what I can do. Perfect the craft, really. Be the best at my own ability. Just maximize my capability. Those are big words. I don't know if they flew over your head or not, but I said them. Crickets. But yeah, and then progress over perfection. Like, I don't want to stress too. I feel like I've done that in the past. I have done that in the past. I would just make a group of... I have a song I'm working on. Or I had a song I was working on. And I'm just spending hours, like a whole month, trying to make it as perfect as it could be. But really, when you step back and observe what that work was, it's better than what I've done a couple months ago or last year. A lot of progress. Instead of stressing so much onto make it as perfect as it could possibly be, and I'm talking about to extreme lengths, like spending hours, a whole day, just to find a specific sound for something. If that one sound that you found after the first few clicks or first few keyboard sound, if that was good enough, then let that be. And then really focus on progression. Like at least you're making progress. So, and I feel like I do kind of go back on it sometimes. I do try to perfect stuff. I do spend a lot of time making that, but that comes from a standpoint of had an idea in mind for a song, and I want to make that as close as I can to that idea as possible and make that come to life. So I feel like that does lie in with perfection sometimes. But the overall goal is to really hone in on progression rather than perfection. But yeah, that's pretty much it. In conclusion, I said I was talking about the music process is unpredictable. The music makes itself. How I make music, start with a keyboard, just different instruments. And the inspiration fuels creativity. I love when somebody makes something new from other things that already exist. And that is an endless cycle. And our writer's block isn't exactly real. Judging my own creation subconsciously, and that it's stupid, because you are you, and being you is literally all you can do. Bars. No? Crickets again? Progress over progression. Progression over perfection. But yeah, that's really it. That's all I wanted to talk about for this video. I wanted to try something different, something I actually wanted to talk about. Or not that I didn't want to talk about the other topics, but something I really that I really enjoy, that I don't really get to talk about with anybody else that makes music. So yeah, I don't like walking over near these grates. I feel like, or these sewer holes. I feel like I might just drop my phone in it. That's terrifying. Like, that's like the worst thing that could happen. Because what do? How do you get your phone back? But yeah. I'm going to drive off in the distance. Hold on. Hold on. Don't click off just yet. Don't click off. I'll lock myself out. And then the video's gonna fade out with the music fading out. Let's look. Yeah. Just like that. And I'm gone.